Hail friends, welcome back. Thank you for joining me on another EverQuest adventure. In this episode, we're hanging out in Chardok at the castle entrance, waiting to get trained by our fellow players. While at this camp, we encountered a danger or 10. Most of the danger came from other players losing control of charmed mobs. So in this area, you've got animals and undead, so you will actually see not only enchanters, but druids and necromancers charming things here. And in most cases, they were kind enough to give them 2 weapons, cast haste on them, etc., ensuring that when they lost control of the mob, it went on a murderous rampage. And this usually happened when my mana pool was at 10% or something crazy. We had a couple of deaths from said charmed mobs and even had to retreat outside the castle a couple of times. I also kind of witnessed a bug where the charmed mobs would literally warp right into the middle of the camp, kind of sitting like right up there in the front of the screen at this point. And yeah, it never is good to get an ad on you that's got, quad attack and haste. So, some bad times indeed. And you would also see the druids would run outside to recast Spirit of Wolf on themselves, and their, chocolate eyes would get loose and ravage us in ways we don't like to talk about. I also note that I was in fact live streaming at the time, so these may have been assassination attempts of some sort. Who knows? But yeah, it did seem kind of coincidental that you had a lot of people levitating between the 2 castle tower things, and then suddenly losing control of something. Some other noteworthy things about this camp, you usually have a bard over here somewhere trying to solo. Rarely are they successful, it seems. For whatever reason, they seem to, get an ad or something of that nature, and or have a snare resist. I'm not really sure exactly what was going on, but when it was all said and done, we got trained by a crap load of bards too. And mostly because you've got a weird kind of setup in this zone. You have the entrance on one side, the exit on the other. People like to solo by the entrance, and kind of rely on this group to keep everything clear. If something goes wrong, they run out. But, when they run out, they're dragging, 4, 5, 6 mobs across your party, and, if you're not prepared for that, it's a bad day, for lack of a better term. So, the last thing I want to talk about for this camp in particular is when you start pulling deeper inside, you actually get some wizard mobs. And these wizard mobs, they're clever and sneaky. That's all I'm going to say. I don't really know how to put it another way. So, they're high enough level, I think they summon people, and they cast Ice Comet. So, super important that you keep hit point buffs up on your party, and especially if you're a cleric, throw symbols on your people that are pulling. You will save their life when that Ice Comet comes. And when you get one of these as an ad, and it's not, crowd controlled, or it resists crowd control, it does stupid shit like, what happened to me? I was just sitting there, I get dispelled, right? And I'm like, oh, that bag of dicks, he dispelled my hit point buffs, and I'm like, god damn it, now I have to recast, and about the time I said recast, I'm dead. Because his Ice Comet hit me for my entire life total after my hit point buffs were dispelled. And, he was kind of standing right in that little area there, up at the front of the castle by the door, and just blasted me one shot, one kill. And, not only that, even if I did have my symbol up, he'd have probably put me below 20% life anyways. And, yeah, that's really the danger there, is those things tend to, do quite a lot of damage when they get loose. So you do need to kind of watch out for that. Especially if you're on heal duty, or pull duty, and just kind of watch out for that. Now on to the best subject, of course, the fat loot. This spot is actually really nice for loot. Yeah, during my time here, I saw a couple of snazzy snare earrings that you see quite a lot of druids and rangers using. A guard captain's mallet, a Chardok battle shield, and a staff of shielding. And we even got a sweet bronze statue of Ethesed. I did see a couple of gems, but they weren't very frequent per se. I will say though that the named mobs spawned fairly often, and they were quite generous when they did so. So that was very nice to get a lot of names and all that. So I know you're saying, gee, you've said a lot of bad things about this camp. I hope I never end up here, but I'd actually kind of caution you and say, no, that's not the case. I actually really enjoyed my time here, and you know, compared to Velks and Carnivores, it's a different pace. You've got more drops per se that are actually useful. I'm not going to call them best in slot, but they actually sell for well over 1,000 platinum pretty easily. So yeah, if you have not made a trip out to Chardok, I recommend you do make the trip here at some point. Which does bring me to my next subject, traveling here. So this zone is a little bit kind of out of the way. You've got to teleport into Skyfire, or you know, basically just run across Kunark to get here. Teleporting into Skyfire, it's really easy to pass the zone in area because it's like a little, you've got like a little space that you have to run down up into, or run up into, and then you get to the castle entrance, which has yet another small space you have to run up into. And if you're a cleric like myself and you don't have a good way to invis, that can be a little bit daunting of a task. I ended up, in a couple of occasions, traveling to this zone, having to run for my dear life, which meant popping Divine Aura. Oh look, there's a nice drop that I forgot all about. And look at that. Ding, level 55, y'all. The pain of level 54 is over. But most importantly, yeah, you have to watch out for the random undead. So you're going to have like plague bone skeletons running around outside that could pop you out of your invis if you do have it. And most importantly, the Sarnax running around are shamans. So that means Spirit of Wolf and Root, which could be a really bad day. If you're a caster, highly recommend you have gate up just in case you aggro one, which I totally did. I literally paid for a teleport, got 90% of the way there, and had to gate because I got rooted and had 3 mobs coming my way with haste. So, it's just one of the unfortunate side effects of traveling as a cleric, which I later did invest in those sweet Ring of Shadows, so I've got a couple of them now that I can recharge and all that good stuff, but yeah. Anyways, with that being said, folks, well, thank you for joining me on this EverQuest adventure. And again, if you have not been to Chardok, or have only been to Chardok for like, you know, killing things for epic quest, I recommend it as an EXP zone. It's definitely a nice change of pace, and yeah, it's a good place to spend your 50s for sure. So if you get the chance to make it out to Chardok, do so. And as always, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what your favorite Chardok moment is. Or what's your favorite camp? Have you been in this camp? Did you have the same experience I had? Were you getting trained all the time? You know, all that good stuff. So anyways, everybody, thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.